Yo, hello everyone, hope you've had a good weekend. Just gonna sit and wait for a few minutes and let people come before I start doing my analysis. I'll probably start on the DXY, to be honest. So yeah, drop a comment in the chat if there's any pairs you want me to look at. Came here to support my friend Bashy, Alan Perez. Oh my god, you know what, bro? Now that you're here, there you go. Drop a comment. Turned into a working man, Alan. So yeah, guys, if you got any pairs you want me to go over and stuff, just drop the pair in the chat and get to it. There you go, Mr. Moderator. But yeah, guys, if you got any questions about what pairs you want me to go over or anything, just drop it in the chat. Time frame you want me to have a look at, and then I'll go through that. But I'm gonna start off with the DXY. Just gonna wait for a few more minutes. I really need to get YouTube Premium. Until then, I apologize. How you doing anyway, Alan? This is the first time I've done a stream in the, not London, and it's perfect, I suppose, because then you're probably awake and stuff, right? It's 5 p.m. now in the UK, so I'm guessing for you it's like what, 10 o'clock, 9, 10, 11 a.m. in the morning. Just woke up from a nap time. I like it. Nap time. That's good. I just finished eating 11 a.m. Yeah, 6 hours behind. Got ya. I just finished eating and stuff, and I thought I'd just do I was gonna do a weekly outlook video, but then I thought, you know what, I can't be bothered to do all of the what's it called, you know, the editing and stuff like that. It's just easier to do a live stream. It's more engaging. If people have questions on stuff like that, then they can kind of, you know, it's more, how can I put it, it's more face to face, you know. Probably start on the monthly time frame. Yeah, I'll probably start on the monthly most likely. But yeah, how you been, Alan? How's work and stuff, man? I miss you, dude. I've not seen you in a while. I feel so dehydrated. Likewise, everything as well. I have a big exam tomorrow. Nice. Good luck with the exam, bro. And when you gonna start making videos in series 30 for Forex? I don't know what that is, but okay. But yeah, when you gonna start making videos and stuff on the A1 channel, man? I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for some content, my guy. Could probably flip that. Yeah, that's fine. Suppose if we're gonna go leg down, it'll be the other way, wouldn't it? So what's the series 34? It's process to get stuff approved. Timeline is unknown, to be honest. Ah, okay, that's fine. Well, it sounds like you're doing your own thing, which is cool, bro. I mean, I don't know about stuff like series 34 or anything like that. What I'm thinking is car stuff like BMW 3 series, 4 series, I don't know. So yeah, man. I was waiting for one of my 100k accounts to get passed through to me, but there's issues with the KYC, so I've had to apply for a passport and stuff. So it's so annoying because I really wanted to get all my funded accounts ready so I could start making money as a funded trader this week, but turns out I'm like 50-50 limited on that one. Yeah, 4 guys watching, 4 people watching right now. Just give me a few moments, 5-10 minutes, and then I'm gonna get started, guys. If you got any questions about what pairs you want me to have a look at or anything, what time frame, drop it in the chat and I'll work my way around to it. And then obviously at the end of me doing my analysis on forex pairs and indices, whatever, we can do like a Q&A session for anything about psychology, discipline, trading plan, even like prop firm questions, anything like that. And then XAUUSD 30-minute. Yeah, that's fine, Zach. I'll have a look at that, no problem. Look up series 34. There's a wonder. Hey, Alan's in the house and a wonder's in the house. Look up series 34 exam for NFA. It'll give you good understanding. Yeah, that's fine. Just I might forget, but I'll try my best to not forget, and I'll have a look at that. But yeah, Sak, thanks for joining the stream. I appreciate it, dude. Guys, if you want to share this stream to your friends or anything like that, new traders, veteran traders, whatever, if they have any questions or anything, I'll do a rundown and who I am and my journey as a trader and what time frame I trade and stuff like that, and then that just gives a bit of context as to who I am for people who might be new that are joining the stream. So yeah. But then obviously I'm gonna start off with DXY, and then I'll go through a few of the requested pairs, and then after that I'll go through like EU, GU, UJ, gold, GJ, GBP, CHF. These are the pairs I mainly trade, and then whatever else is requested in the chat. How's your weekend been anyway, guys? And how many people blew accounts on NFP? I didn't trade NFP, by the way. I just thought it's the best to kind of sit and wait for the news to come out. News come out, couldn't really find a trade to get in afterwards either, so I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna chill. But I was looking on all the discords for all the different prop firms, and so many traders unfortunately blew their accounts. So if you blew your account on Friday because of NFP, disappointed, guys. I would genuinely say I'm disappointed. I missed 175 pip profitable trade for XAU on NFP. If you were in the trade prior to it, you could, depending how far in profit you are on that sack, you could hold it through the news. But if you're taking a trade based off of NFP, then gold is going to absolutely annihilate you, because I'd imagine that would do 150 200 pip move quite easily. For me, I don't really hold trades through news events because I mainly trade London, and if I do trade New York session, it's rare that I'll take a trade before news, unless it services PMI or JOLTS job openings, which is normally at 3 PM UK time, and I normally look for a trade between 2 and 4, so that's probably the only time I could be in a trade before news. Oh, this recent NFP was a big deal. I know, Alan, it was so bad for the DXY. So bad. And you know how we were kind of on the fences about the third rate cut? The market priced in 2 already, but the third rate cut, people were still on edge about if we're going to get a third rate cut. I think that NFP print was the nail in the coffin for that third cut, in my opinion. Obviously things could change the next print, but NFP is going in a downtrend. Unemployment's, we had the unemployment rate tick up for the first time, so it's going in one direction, so it's kind of not looking good. There's even possibility of a 50 basis point rate cut in September on the 17th on the Fed meeting, which I personally think before it was 0%, now it's 10 or 11% on the Fed watch tool. I'm expecting that to creep up more and more. Personally, I think there is a likelihood we might get a 0.5% cut or a 50 basis point cut. I think it might be possible for sure. It would make sense to do a 50 basis point cut and then in October review the NFP data, see how it looks. You'd rather go off a bit heavier than having 3 singular cuts. You'd rather have 1 bigger cut and then just kind of see how the second one might come about. rather than having 0.25 and then the third one 0.25. It might be too late at that time because the US is already starting to show signs of weakness growth wise, unemployment wise. So yeah, guys, do me a favor, hit like on the stream. I'd appreciate it. You don't have to subscribe if you don't want to. I'm not really bothered about subs. It's more about likes and if people actually enjoy the content. I'm going to start in about 2-3 minutes, so 5:15. So 2-3 minutes I'll start with the DXY, and then after that I'll go on to gold for SAC, and then I'll go through the pairs. It'll be good if I might need to make note of what time I'm going over the pairs and stuff. So if people want to come and have a look, I can just drop it in the chat what time I went over what pair. I might need to kind of make note of that for sure. Right guys, I'm going to start in about 1 minute 30 seconds and then we'll kick things off. Could you date my ex? Right, okay, so let's start off then. So I'm going to go over the DXY first from monthly time frame. Now, what we're seeing right here is January, February, March. You can see here where we had the whole in March talking about the idea or the possibility of tariffs and stuff like that. April come in, huge swing to the downside, potential recovery when we talked about negotiations being made and stuff like that. We've had a lot of heavy volatility in the start of 2025, which is expected because we've got a new president. We say new, obviously, his previous president, but obviously in a new term of presidency, they always tend to go out swinging in terms of what they want to do and the policies they have in place. And especially with Trump being a very outspoken person. Hello, Yusuf. Welcome. Assalamu alaikum. We see that Trump obviously started off the markets by putting tariffs on basically the whole world. So happy weekend. Jazakallah. Had a great weekend. I hope you had a good weekend too. So what did we see? We had a huge push down in the DXY. We made a new low. And as you can see from prior to the elections, the DXY, sorry about that, guys. We've seen that basically the DXY was, the lowest point was 99, and that was going back in July 2023. But other than that, DXY was kind of sat around 102 to 105, 106, has kind of sat in that level for a couple years. And then obviously after you've had the new president, prices dropped drastically, hasn't it? As you can see here. Now that's on the monthly time frame. Let's drop down to the weekly. What are we seeing on the weekly time frame? What we can see on the weekly time frame is that we are seeing sellers are quite clearly in control of this market. And how are we seeing that? We're seeing that by the fact that if you go on the weekly time frame, Look at all these wicks are seeing here: 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, 4 weeks. We're seeing sellers really come into this market and push the DXY down. That's a really bad thing to see if you're trying to be a bullish person, and if you're trying to call the bottom of the DXY and catch the absolute sniper entry for the DXY to go bullish. This is not what you want to be seeing. So we're seeing bearish momentum, bearish momentum, bearish momentum. We're seeing obviously the tariffs really pull money out of the dollar. We're seeing the safe haven currencies rally off of the back of that. The yen, the Swiss franc, even the euro is obviously kind of a safe haven currency in a sense. We're seeing those rally really, really hard in this sort of like January to July time frame. Now we're seeing that we're making lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs on the weekly time frame. So clearly we're in a bearish market right now, yeah. And we've got the recent swing low here, which is 96.3. Now let's go down to the daily time frame and kind of see what's going on there. So if we used to go on the daily of the DXY, let's pull the fib out again. High to the low. We're really struggling to kind of push to the upside. Lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, higher low, higher high, but then we consolidated off of there, and then NFP was just a nail in a coffin for everyone to think, right, we're going to go down, we're going to go more bearish after this. Now what I'm also seeing here was that we did have a support level on the DXY around here. And then price was kind of finding support at that level. I think that's end of April. I'm sure that was around the same sort of time frame where deals are starting to be made, or the possibility of the rest of the world kind of complying to the idea of coming to the table, having a discussion with Trump and seeing what sort of negotiation could be done. Which is kind of good for the DXY. It kind of gave a possibility of we might find a support level around that sort of time frame. Bashy, the girlfriend, says hi, happy for your streaming. Oh, thank you, Mrs. Soon to be Perez, hopefully. Hi, thanks for that, I appreciate it. Alan, are you going or are you just saying that? But yeah, thank you, Alan's girlfriend. That's nice of you, kind of you, thank you. And then what do you see? We found support here, but we realized that support broke through, come back. I could say this is a fake out, you know. You could say this price action right here was a fake out because it broke the low, come instantly back into that level again. But then what happened? That area there, which I normally call them key levels, where it's like a break and retest level, or a level where price has given a lot of how can I put it? It's a reactive level. Let's call it a reactive level. So we had support, fake out, broke again, retested, broke again, come back up again, and then we sat in that level. So to me, this is a key area. This is an area which is really important. Now on the daily, we can see that obviously price is hovering around this level. NFP come, huge push to the downside. Huge push to the downside. Hi Alan, Chatori, Salam, Bashumadi. We can see that there's a huge push to the downside on the DXY. Now that for me is signaling the next push down, and the next level would potentially be around here. This would be the potential next support level. So 97.3 to 97.0. If you come and break this low, if you come and break this level, then that's going to give me more confidence to short to these lows here of 96.3 to 96.6. Now I expect that his price is going to come down and take that level soon, and we might make a new low. I think there's a huge possibility of that, in my opinion. On the DXY, I am bearish, only bearish. I do not see any neutrality in the DXY. I do not see any possibility of being a bull. I am purely bearish on the DXY until we see things change with the tariffs and stuff, until we see the jobs data, NFP, CPI come out in a positive way for the DXY. I'm going to stay on my bearish perspective on the DXY. That being said, we do have CPI coming out soon. So if we have a look at when is CPI, Wednesday the 10th, we got CPI. That's PPI. CPI is Thursday the 11th. Where previous was 2.7, we're forecasting 2.9. That's obviously not good. If you're seeing the inflation go higher and the jobs market weakening, that is not a good thing for the Fed. So it's going to be interesting to see what CPI does. There will be a lot of volatility surrounding that, purely because of the importance of that. We know jobs are weakening. We know inflation's on the rise. If we see a hotter than expected print, that's going to put the Fed in an even more difficult situation, which is why I think there's a possibility of a 0.5 basis cut in the 17th of September meeting. But CPI is going to be a important one and definitely worth looking out for. Now, going to the 4-hour time frame on DXY, it gives just a little bit more clarity. Let's get rid of that. So 4-hour time frames kind of this level here. Yeah, so this level here is on the 4 hours, so 97 to 97.4, where I'm expecting price to come to next, and then see what occurs or happens around this region. If price comes and breaks that low, does a break and retest, so something kind of like this. Then I'm looking for price to push further down. That's kind of what I want to see. Break, retest, push to the downside. Okay, so that's pretty much me on the DXY. Bearish, only looking for shorts on the DXY. So for example, UJ, USD CAD, USD CHF, shorts are kind of what I'm looking to go for. Now let's go to the first requested pair, which is gold on the 30-minute time frame. So XAUUSD on the 30-minute time frame. Let's just go to the 4-hour and see what's happening here. Or actually, even the daily would be easier. What can we see on gold? We obviously consolidated for a really long time. Price absolutely smashed the highs. Serious volume, serious momentum. Look at that. Big push, Wick to the downside. Huge push up again. So gold is clearly in a bullish market. If you look at daily, weekly, monthly, probably even the yearly, it's buys all day long. Now, a lot of people would say we'd want to wait for a pullback on this level, right? So price to kind of go from there, come down to here, pull back, probably into, yeah, there you go, 0.5 level. So anywhere around there. Or if you do the recent swing low, back into that retest level again. So once again, we're talking about break and retest. So obviously we've broke here. People might want to look for price to come back in to retest this level and then give a chance to hop back into buys, and then boom, off to the races we go. Now, the thing with gold is when you're waiting for pullbacks, gold is one of those assets you will not be guaranteed a pullback. When it goes, it goes. It's like Usain Bolt on a run. You're not going to catch the guy. There's no point trying to catch the guy. You're better off calling the fact that you've just missed that trade. Wait for the next. If you're expecting a break and retest on gold, I don't see it oftentimes doing that because it has such heavy volume that whenever it does break through level, it comes with serious momentum. And you can even look at these levels here. For example, we had highs here, broke, it retested here, and then it flew all the way up. But obviously, this is a different market. In 2024, you had a lot of, it's a more peaceful market, if that makes sense. We got tariffs and stuff going on right now. We got Russia, Ukraine going on. We got all sorts of things happening. We even got potential issues with Venezuela because obviously Trump sent out, a few submarines and stuff like that to the shores of Venezuela. So there's a lot going on right now. So geopolitically, it's a tense time. There's a lot going on. And then obviously with the NFP, that's just another catalyst. Bearish DXY, bullish gold. It just makes sense, guys. It really does. And because of that, I don't really expect price to come down and test that level, in my honest opinion. If it does, happy days. 100% get in there for a swing trade. Hold that sucker for as long as you can. If it doesn't and price is broke and it's not coming back for a retest, guys, don't get FOMO, don't chase price, don't get manipulated by the market. Have patience, perseverance. Traders trade the market, they don't trade emotions. So just be mindful of that. So that was on the daily time frame. Let's hop down to the 4 hour, which I'm expecting to be quite similar. Yeah, there we go, very similar price action. We have higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So this is the most recent low. If you trade supply demand, there might be a possibility you could take it from this zone here if you're a supply demand trader. And remember, it does fall within this key level, which fell within the fib on the daily structural level. So there's a possibility for that. But as I said, price doesn't always have to do a pullback and tag you in, especially when you're talking about gold. Got out of consolidation starting May this year. September is a new all-time high. Exactly, yeah, we've made all-time highs, 3,600, and then we've seen a push down. Psychological levels are important. That could be people taking partials or taking some money out of the market because they've been holding gold for possibly a long time and they want to kind of take some money out of the market to pay for the swaps that they might have been had incurred from holding the gold trade, depending when they got in. If you've held it from here all the way through to here, that's wow, look at that, 138 days. Imagine the swap fees on there. So I'd imagine if people just, you know, breaking and pushing to the high side, and at this 3600 level, psychological level 3600, they might be taking some partials and stuff there, which is why price kind of pushed back down. There's a possibility of that. I trade retracements on XAUUSD on 30-minute, but I limit or stop orders rather than the market. Yeah, that's fine, of course. Yeah, that makes sense, Zach. I'll go down to 30-minute shortly. What's your analysis on the yen? I'll have a look at that shortly, guys. Okay, so on the 4 hour, that's what I'm thinking right there. That's the nearest zone. Higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. The next level we could potentially look at getting into a trade for a supply and demand trader, that is, for example, is potentially this low here. This low, I think, has more likelihood of tapping into and then kind of running from there. This level has, it just makes more sense to me. It just makes more sense to me, that does. Let's go to the 1 hour. Okay, perfect. So if I was to go from, let's go from the swing low here to here. If we look at the demand zone, it's right in between 0.5 and 0.3. That to me is interesting. It's lining up with the fib, it's lining up with the 50% pullback. It's a demand zone that was made in London session. Huge fair value gap there if you trade fair value gaps or imbalance in price. So for me, that would be a better zone to potentially get in a trade if you're looking for a pullback. That looks far better to me, that does. And then you can ride from here back up to these highs again. For example, let's say you took it from this zone here. Let's say, for example, you took a trade from here, price come in, tag that zone, personally I'd cover Asia low, and they could come back up to these highs again. That's a 1 to 2. That's not a bad trade. If you do stick to these lows, you're going to get a 1 to 3. So that's not a bad shout at all. I think that's not a bad opportunity at all. But as I said, if you do take that stab there and you take a loss, no problem. Price might pull deeper into this level here or that key area on the higher time frame. Take another stab again. If it does, you can target those highs again, catching a better risk reward. That's if we get the possibility for a pullback. If we don't, no problem. Hey David, welcome my friend. So that's kind of what I'm thinking on the 1 hour and 4 hour. Now let's go down to the 30-minute time frame and see what we can find here. Swing low to swing high again. I'm still looking at this level here. I'm really still looking at this level here. Personally, I would use the 1 hour supply zone and then I'd refine it. So if price come into, for example, let's just go from here, right? Let's say price come into here. Then and that's the 1 hour zone. Yeah, let's say this is the 1 hour zone right there. If it comes in, I'd go to the lower time frame, look for a confirmation for price shifting bullish to try and enter into long opportunities. If we're seeing that there's no opportunity for that, I would then go to the 30-minute time frame, refine the zone even further, more refining, and there's even can catch a better zone. And remember, every time, in my opinion, when I trade from supply or demand zones, because I do trade supply demand, a lot of the time I'm looking for confirmation within those levels. Now what that could be is a M5, M15 break a structure, retracement back into the demand zone, break structure again, then take a retracement into that demand zone. So you've got extra confidence, extra confluence, rather than waiting for the first breaker structure, hopping in a long opportunity. You just might be one of the early buyers who's kind of got taken out the market because you're just too early. So that's what I would do. 1 hour zone there, look how price comes in, go lower time frame, see how market structure looks. Are we still making lower highs and lower lows? If we are, stand back, have patience, refine the zone to the 30-minute, see what we get. If price comes and takes this zone entirely, that's okay. That's not a problem. You could then look for this zone to fail and then look for long opportunities. Once again, looking for confirmation on the lower time frame. Now, if that zone fails, I did say you could come to this lower level here if you're patient enough to wait for price on gold to come down. 3.2%. I mean, that's a big drop. I don't expect gold to have a big drop like that after the NFP numbers. I don't think that's going to happen. As I said, I'm really not expecting it to come that deep into that level, to be fair. So I would take a stab at this. That would be the level I'd be looking for. On the 1 hour, it's about there. That's what I think anyway, Sack, in my opinion. So I'd look for price to come in here, get some kind of movement like that. There you go. Break structure, tap into demand zone, break structure, tap into demand zone. I would take it from here and I'd target these highs. Something kind of like this. 1 second. So like there. You could cover this low, or you could cover this low, or you could just cover the low of the supply zone, the demand zone, and then target the highs again. 1 to 7 risk reward. Not bad. Not bad at all. So you've got that opportunity there. If price continues to come down, then you could look for this to occur. You could still look for the same opportunity right here, if you just kind of take it from there. Say there's a order block here or something like that, or a demand zone, something like that. I like it when it's very much like this, because then we're starting to see buyers coming into the market. We're starting to see order flow shift to the bullish side. That is my bellissimo. Love that type of price action. So you've got a break structure here, and then a break of structure there, pull back. Perfect. That's what I'll be looking for. That is, sorry guys, I'll look at my social media later. If you're messaging me on social media, I'll have a look after the stream, guys. So that's kind of my ideal preference on that sack. That's what I'll be looking for. Once again, if you get that price taking the demand zone, taking Asia low, then giving a bullish momentum, no problem. That's fine. I'm happy with that. Also that zone is in the 0.5 retracement. Yeah, exactly, 0.5. If you trade fib, it's in the golden pocket. First to just switch this around. Where's the reverse? There we go. It's in the golden pocket, isn't it? 0.5 to 0.6 or 0.6 to 0.7. I personally prefer it, whereas between the 0.618 and the 718, if it's smack bang in the middle of there, for me that's like the prime setup. That's like the prime setup if you're following market structure. I actually like it. I think this is called the golden pocket. If memory serves right, people call it the golden pocket. So that's what I'd look from longs. That looks beautiful to me. Okay, so let's kind of get rid of all of this. And then next was yen for Yusuf. So let's go on to the DXY, which is the yen index. Go on to the daily time frame now. What are we to go on the weekly? It might be better. On the weekly time frame, obviously yen is coming weaker and weaker. I actually have always had an interest in the Japanese market, even before trading like 5-10 years ago, because I've always been interested in their culture. When I started looking at their workplace environment and stuff like that, and their economical side of their economy, I realized that they're in a declining market, and they have been for years and years. And what I mean by declining market is they don't actually ever grow. And then I realized that's interesting. So when I come into Forex, I kind of already had a bit of a insider's perspective as to how the yen kind of is not good and hasn't been good for the last 20-30 years. It's stagnated. Now, with that being said, we're obviously making lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. We had a high low here, but we failed to make a high. So that to me is still a lower high. And we're going to go to make a lower low. You would think that, wouldn't you? But the yen has always been a kind of zero interest currency. It's been a currency where people go there, they borrow money from there because of the low borrowing rate, and then they offset that money and park it into the gold or to the dollar and make money like that because the lending rate from the yen is so low. But now that we've had the Japanese banks, Governor Ueda-san, the head of the Japanese bank, they are having talks and possibilities of being thought about, or conversations are being had by the Japanese, where they're thinking about potentially doing rate hikes, which is naturally gonna shift the way people view the yen, because it's always been that currency. Bashi is an anime fan. Maybe I am an anime fan, but if you look at my shirt, keep calm and drive a Honda Civic. So I'm actually a petrol head. If you look at my YouTube channel, you see a few of my videos of me racing cars. But anime is cool. Anyway, back to the point. The fact that the Bank of Japan is looking at potentially doing rate hikes, that's very interesting considering the last 30 years that's never been heard of. It's always been very neutral. So for the yen to then come out and say we're going to talk about doing rate hikes, talk about doing these types of things, it's shifting the narrative for the yen. So when these talks are being had and stuff, if they start doing rate hikes, that is going to shift the market entirely, because normally you have the Swiss franc and the yen as safe haven currencies. If we see the yen doing rate hikes, they're going to rate hiking cycle. If they start doing that, all that's going to do is bolster the appeal of the Swiss franc, which means that's going to rally even more based off of that. If we keep seeing geopolitics, if we keep seeing weakness in the dollar and stuff like that, then yes, and the yen starts doing rate hikes and going into a rate hiking cycle, the Swiss franc is going to really look like a beautiful currency to get heavily invested in, for sure. Sacramony said yen bottom potentially. There is in my opinion, I think it's definitely possible. I'm still keeping an eye on what's happening in Japan, still keeping an eye on what is Governor Ueda saying, how are the talks progressing within the Japanese economy and the banks and stuff like that, just to find out where are they going. They're talking about it. That's interesting. That's very shocking actually. So I'm going to keep a close eye on what's happening with the yen, see if they start doing rate hiking cycles. If they do, that's going to be fascinating for sure. I'm trying to look when they're due to have the next meeting for. Okay, so Bank of Japan policy rate is the 19th of September, and then they got the monetary policy statement, and then the press conference. So I'm going to be looking closely on Friday the 19th of September just to find out what Governor Ueda-san is going to be saying and what he's forecasting or expecting to do. Also, the yen, they have actually their president, or their prime minister, I think they call it. Let me just go back if I can find his name. He's resigned. Prime Minister Ishiba-san to step down as LDP leader. So does that, I think that he might be stepping down. So that's interesting as well. That's going to cause volatility with the yen. Let's be mindful of that market open and then keep an eye on the yen. But yeah, going back to what Sak asked, is the yen potentially bottoming? I think there is a big possibility. Remember, fundamentals are one of the main market movers, especially for interest rates, economies and stuff like that. That's the main thing, what moves the market for the next 3 months, the next 6 months, the next year. So yeah, I think there is a possibility for yen longs, definitely. And if you go on to the daily, obviously this is TVC and the yen's probably just not got so much information on this chart. You can see that January, when the tariffs happened, the yen absolutely rallied. Then in April, negotiations were being made, potential of negotiations being made. And then in July, August, we didn't see any push to the downside. Why is that? This was around the time that Governor Ueda-san was talking about potential rate hikes. If they were talking about it, it makes sense why it's consolidating instead of pushing to the lower side. If we're having peace talks, it makes sense. So I think that is going to be worth looking at the yen, being very mindful of what's happening in their economy. What is Governor Ueda saying? What are they forecasting? What is the sentiment basically behind the yen? So that's kind of my opinion on the yen, Yusuf. I am more neutral to bullish on the yen. Neutral to bullish. Okay, now let's go through some other pairs. Guys, if you're enjoying the content, do me a favor, hit the like button. If you have any questions about what pairs you want me to go over, what time frame to go over, drop it in the chat. And then after I've gone through all the pairs, I'll do a Q&A session. You can ask me pretty much anything trading related, whether if it's psychology, whether if it's trading plan, whether if it's prop firm, my own experience, whatever you want to ask, as long as it's trading related. Okay, so let's go to Euro USD then. So let's hop on EU. No, not futures, Forex. So I normally use IC markets. So we go on the weekly. We're seeing that if we look at the absolute swing high to the absolute swing low, we are pushing to the higher side. And look at that, we're just rejecting at the 786 level. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? On the weekly time frame, on the fib, we're rejecting at the 786. I find that really interesting. Now, the reason I think this might fail and price might still go higher, you're most welcome, Yusuf. I hope that was beneficial for you. I think price might go higher on EU purely because of NFP. That's the main thing. I told you guys I'm bearish on the dollar, which means I'm naturally bullish on Euro USD, GBPUSD, and all the currencies against the dollar I'm going to be bullish on. So to me, buys look good. We might get a bit of a pullback here. There is a possibility we might see price come down a little bit before it pushes up again. But if you're zooming on the price action here, look at the wicks on the low side. Buyers are here. Buyers are definitely here in this market, that's for sure. Let's go down to the daily time frame and see what's going on there. So all I can see here is that we do have a support level. I would say it kind of looks like it's around here, the support level. Yeah, around there. That looks like a really nice level of support there. Yeah, that's a good level. I like that. I like that a lot. So I would say here is a key level. And the reason I say here purely because it was high, got tested, broke, retested, price come up, fake out, price come up, give reaction. So once again, high reaction level, high reaction zone. These are interesting points. Price kind of like has a big movement from these zones. So for me, I think price might want to potentially come back down here, which is 120 pips. So if we used to say from here, 1 to 3 days, we could get a 120 pip move, 130 pip move. What's the average price move of Euro USD? Probably is about 80 to 110 pips per day. So I think, yeah, over 3 days, we might be able to come back into this key area, test it again, and then potentially off to the race we go. Price come here, something like that. Keep going bullish on the euro, obviously bearish on the dollar. That's my personal opinion on there. On the daily, I like that level a lot. I really like that level. On the 4 hour, very similar thing again. I would keep this level available on the 4 hour again, so I wait for price to come back in. You got a demand zone here, so if price doesn't do that pullback that we want to see into this key level, this is potentially the closest place to get in for if you trade supply demand on the 4 hour. Price comes back into this zone, obviously wait for confirmation on the lower time frame, break of structure, market shift, whatever you want to call it, reversal patterns, head and shoulders, inverse, and then look for the longs. That looks like a good opportunity there. You could also use the fib on this from the low to the absolute high. Once again, this demand zone sits in that kind of 50 to 618 level, in between the 618 to the 786. Once again, beautiful level that is. I like that level. That's a nice level that is. And then, as I said, it sits within this key area as well. Confluence is lining up. I like the look of that. Definitely looks like a nice area to potentially get into a trade. Now, if you take it from here and you take a loss, no problem, guys. We are still gonna get another opportunity coming back into this key level. Once again, you got another demand zone over here, the absolute swing low on the 4 hour. So you could say you could potentially hop into another one here, because this is zone that hasn't been mitigated, hasn't been tagged, hasn't been tapped into or anything like that. So it's a clean zone. And on the 4 hour, it's the low that broke structure to all these highs. So that's the low that kind of ultimately led to that move occurring. This is just a zone that took the recent level. This is the low that led to that high, that led to this low, that led to that high breaking there, market structure wise. So for me, you got 2 chances here on EURUSD to get into longs. Looks like a nice level. Looks like a really nice level to me. Now, if you go on the 1 hour, very similar price action. Yep, very similar. Once again, you've got that zone there, got that zone there. Not much is going to change in my honest opinion. So I'll keep that as it is. Going down to the 30-minute time frame, I would look at the swing low from here all the way to here, and then let's get rid of that one and get rid of that, and let's get rid of all of this here so the price action is a bit more cleaner. So on this level here, what can we see? Oh no, second guys, just reverse the fib on here. There you go. They got 0.5 to 786, which is around here. Can we see anything here? Yes, we can. We can see a potential demand zone right here on the 30-minute time frame. I would go to the 1 hour on there actually and see if we can find a 1 hour zone. Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can. Why is that is a wick, isn't it? Yeah, for some reason price doesn't want to come down there. I don't know if that's the issue with the broker or something like that. I'm not too sure. But yeah, you could potentially look to get into some longs. Yeah, it doesn't really like it, does it? Look at that. Okay, that might just be an issue with trading view. Sorry guys, that might just be a trading view issue. So yeah, you could look at this potential level right here. It's being weird actually. I'm not sure why. Don't know if it's the issue with the print of the, yeah, it could just be the print of the candle or something, or the data. Sorry about that guys, don't know what's going on there. You got this 30-minute demand zone anyway. Once again, between it's around the 0.5 level. That's still okay if you're a fib trader. If you're an efficiency trader where price has to be efficient, 50% is kind of the efficiency range. That looks like a good level again. That looks okay. Wait for confirmation. Obviously price has to kind of come back into that level and then give us obviously a confirmation. So it could be like that, coming down, tapping into here. We'd wait for that confirmation again, and then off to the races we go. So once again, something very much like this, covering this low. Wow, 4 pip SL, that's almost M1 worthy. Or just covering the absolute low, and then target the high again. 9.5R, beautiful. That looks lovely. I love that. And then if you want to be really safe, you could cover the middle of Asia, which still gives you 3.6R. That's not bad at all. That's not bad at all. Depends how conservative you want to be. If you want to be aggressive, if you want to be conservative. But in trading, being conservative is oftentimes better because you're protecting your account. You're taking the better quality setups. You're giving your trade room to breathe. You're giving the SL room to breathe. It just depends how you as a trader, are you aggressive or not? I am an M1 trader. I'm very aggressive in all of my entries. I'm like an absolute sniper. Shotgun bang. That's how I trade. So for me, if it was me, I would like take it right. I wouldn't even cover this low. I would like take it from that low right there. I'd go really deep on there. And that's a 2.2 pip SL, which is in my targets on EU. Between 2 and 3.5 is my preference on EU. That looks lovely. Target the highs, 33.8 risk reward. Not bad trade at all. Love that. Looks magnificent. So that's EU on the 30-minute time frame. 15 is going to be the same. So yeah, same once again, no difference there. Okay, so let's hop on to GU now. This is going to be a very similar market to EU. The only difference is the euro's got a lot more strength in it because the euro is just stronger than the pound at the moment. And sometimes the magnet mode snaps objects to exact price point on the candle. Yeah, exactly. Not too sure what's going on there, but it's okay. So if we used to go on the weekly once again, fib the high to the low on euro, price is at 786. What is it going to happen here? I keep doing it the wrong way around, don't I? I don't really use the fib, so apologies about that, guys. I'm not really a fib person. Fib doesn't help on M1. Yeah, price come at that level. It's 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, 4 touch, broke, retest. Interesting there, because it is kind of a resistance level as well if you think about it. A resistance from, let's just say here to here. Break and retest, that's a key area level right there. So this is interesting for me because it lines up with the fib on the 786 level on the weekly time frame. We've obviously got a break and retest right there, important level. Look at the reactions we've had here. This is a very important level on the weekly time frame. Look at that. Look at that level right there. That's a clearly important level. Clearly that's an important level. Price broke, come back in, it wicked the low and then come straight back into that level, and then we're seeing wicks on the downside, which is showing buyers are there. So on the higher time frame, buyers look magnificent. On this area, I'm going to keep that there, go down to the daily time frame, and then I'd look at the recent low to the recent high. So probably this low here, or it looks like that low there actually, could even be that low. Yeah, it is that low. So this low here, if we're looking at price here, we are literally in I've done it again, haven't I, guys? Why do I keep getting the fib on the wrong way around? And then here we go. So price is around the 0.5618, even middle or 50% of the 618.786 level. So see how price come back in on the daily. Big wicks on the downside, to be honest. That's probably a 20 pip wick, 30 pip wick, I think. Woof, 55 pip wick on that one. And then on that one, probably 55 again. So if you look at the whole daily candle being 120 and then 55 of that is a wick on the downside, that's definitely telling you buyers are there. Buyers are stepping in right there from candlestick anatomy, just measuring the pip volume of the wick on the low side. In this level right here, you know, in this pocket, once again, if I'm taking buys on EURUSD, if I'm shorting the DXY, odds are going to be on looking for longs on GBP. Now, there is something you need to be careful of. The pound is struggling with inflation right now. Inflation is on the high. And when I say on the high, I mean it is high. On the last print for GBP, inflation-wise, we've seen that the data come out quite high. Trying to find the data for you now, guys. Where was it? Where was CPI? So, okay, here. So on Wednesday, 20th of August, it come out at 3.8% CPI. That is really high for the pound. That's not looking good at all for the pound. Not good at all. That's quite high inflation. And the growth isn't that good either, if memory serves me right. So to me, that doesn't look good either. But if you're going to be shorting the dollar, you can buy the pound, but that's not my preference. I would definitely be more confident on probably Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, maybe USDJPY. Those would potentially be better opportunities. But I think the USDCHF fundamentally looks like the best option. USDCHF, because it's the only safe haven currency right now that's still remaining neutral, whereas the yen's potentially talking about rate hikes and stuff like that. The Swiss franc's looking like a really good idea. If you're looking to short the dollar, USDCHF looks like a really good idea. So yeah, you can still long GBPUSD. Just be mindful of the potential issue of the economy really starting to suffer from high inflation, and the growth data are not really representing enough for me to be more confident in GU over EU, for example. So if you hop down to the 4-hour time frame, I said 44 minutes there, didn't we? Yep, so here we go. If we look at this high here to this low here, I think it's the same level again. Yep, same level there. If we come to the recent high, which is there, yep, once again in the 50% level. Perfect. I like the look of that. Now let's see if we can get a better key area on the 4-hour time frame. You know what looks nice to me? This area here looks nice. I'll probably just cover this level here. So I would say this level here looks quite nice, especially if you're using the fib on this high here to this low here. It's obviously sat in that level of 0.5 to 0.618. Looks like a nice level. I don't know if we'll get... That looks quite good as well, actually. Yeah, this zone was quite nice as well. But obviously be mindful, pound not looking that good on higher time frame. Fundamentally, sentiment around it is a bit sticky and stuff as well. But if you were to cover this low here, cover the fib to from this zone here, then yeah, I quite like that. Yeah, I like that. I like that. You got a 4-hour zone right here, which is around New York session, I suppose. So you got a New York there, demand zone. New York demand zones are good. London demand zones are good. It's normally you have big volume comes into the market. I tend to like those levels more than others if it's in that time frame. So I would say you got that 4-hour zone there, and then you got the absolute low here, which is Asia. That's interesting, and it's sitting in that 4-hour level also. So you got these two levels right here if you want to potentially get into longs. Once again, price has come up. It has taken this resistance level 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a resistance level. Price has come, took that level. So it's kind of, if you trade the concept of liquidity, it swept this liquidity. Now it's going to push down here if you trade that. For me, all I'm seeing is we made a higher low, higher high, higher low, lower high, high. You're still making higher lows. We're just going to go to make a higher high. So this is just going to be another little pull back here from price action to go from here to here or to here, and then we can go long again, and once again potentially target these highs. That's what I'm thinking. Looks like a nice level to me. I'm happy with these two zones right here, to be honest, in my opinion. Now if we go down to the 30-minute time frame, because the 1 hour is very similar. 1 hour is a very similar zone. The only difference is you have a 1 hour demand zone right here, so you could take a couple stabs. Now what time did price... That was in London. Yeah, London time. Yeah. So that's an interesting zone as well. That's kind of valid. So you got a 1 hour zone there. You've got a 1 hour zone here or a 4 hour zone there. You've got another zone over here. So you got a few opportunities here to take longs. It's okay if you take 1 or 2 losses, as long as the fundamentals line up, the sentiment lines up, the technicals line up. It's okay to take 1 or 2 losses. No one has a 100% win rate, whether you're trading daily, 4 hour, weekly. Maybe if you're trading the monthly time frame, you might have a 100% win rate, but then you're holding trades for a very long time. So if you take a loss here, don't be disheartened. It's okay, guys. If you take a loss here, don't be disheartened. It's okay, guys. If you take a loss here, once again, it's fine. Don't worry about it, guys. What's your best pair going into next week? Ooh, that's a good question. That's a good question. Let's go to 30-minute real quick. 30-minute, once again, nothing here to change. 15-minute, once again, nothing to change. So the 1 hour is reflective of the 15-minute and the 30-minute time frame. Longs here, longs here, longs here. Or you could trade, if you want to take short-term shorts, you can do that. If price pulls back into here, for example, price pulls back into this high here, you could potentially once again look for confirmations, take shorts into this level, might be partials, take some profits here, see if market's giving still bearish momentum. If it is, hold that short position, come into here. What's price action doing? Is it giving potential for long opportunities? Nope. hold the short again, come down here. So you can play both sides of the market on this. Same with EURUSD, same levels that you could target for buys. You could look at them as zones to sell to if you're looking intraday. If you're looking M15, M5, potentially M30, you could use these zones here to sell to. Let's say you took a short here. Oh, what happened there? Let's say, for example, you took a short from here, and you target this zone here, 5R, 6R, target this zone here, 10R, target this zone here, 17R, not a bad shout. Cover these highs, 9R, not bad, 5R, not bad, 3R, not bad. So you got an opportunity there for shorts on the lower time frame if you're an intraday trader. Okay, and then let's see. So Yusuf said, what is your best pair going into this week? So me personally, I don't trade fundamentals. I just trade low time frame. M1 30 second is mainly where my executions are, where I read most of my price action. When it comes to marking zones out, marking levels out and stuff like that, I normally go to M15, just 15-minute time frame, because I trade intraday. If M15 doesn't have enough price action for me to decipher, then I'll go to 1H or 4H and then see if there's any levels there. I've got my own done here. I'll go over what I'm specifically looking at the end of all these pairs. But fundamentally speaking, USD looks brilliant for shorts. USDJPY looks brilliant for shorts. Fundamentally wise, sentiment wise, technicals. Let's have a look at UJ. Let's have a look at the technicals on USDJPY. But yeah, Yusuf, for me, if you're a swing trader or if you're a high time frame trader where you're using fundamentals and the sentiment and kind of having more of a data driven, macro driven strategy and stuff, then yeah, that looks better on CHF, USD CHF. USDJPY looks better to potentially hop into, hold it for a while type thing. So if we go to USDJPY on the weekly, we are clearly bullish. What happened here? Oh, look at that. We had obviously all the tariff stuff going on here. And then USD really struggled to the upside. It really struggled to the upside because we've seen that yen strength coming in. Obviously, after the tariffs being a safe haven currency, the asset obviously drastically strengthened, which is why you've not seen much movement on the USDJPY because of that. And then obviously the last few weeks, you've seen bearish DXY, bearish DXY, bearish DXY, bearish DXY. So once again, shorts look fantastic on USDJPY for me. If you go on the daily time frame, probably cover, yeah, I would probably look at this high to this low. I would wait for confirmation, to be honest, because price is still really chopped in a range, isn't it? I would probably want to go on the 4 hour for this. I would probably want to go on the 4 hour for this just to get a bit more data, because the daily's just not giving me enough information, unfortunately. But once again, key area right here. I love that level right there. It looks really nice to me. So yeah, we're rejecting at this level here on the daily. I do like that level actually. That looks really nice. A lot of action going on over here. If you even drag it across here, a lot of action going on. Look at that. Broke, retest, huge move to the upside. Key area this is. This is a key area for sure. So I don't know. I mean, let's just keep the key area for there. Hop down to the 4 hour. See if you can get some more information. I'm going to move the fib over as well. Just going to move the fib over. Okay, so on the 4 hour, I'll probably go here. Yeah, I'd probably go to that low there, to be fair. So we are sat at this zone at the bottom here, which is also kind of a support level. If you just cover this demand zone, I suppose that might even just be enough. Nope. That's fine. Let's go to here. And then here. Yeah, that level looks nice on the 4 hour actually. Yeah, it's like a nice level on the 4 hour. You have kind of tapped that support level, so, or that key area again on the lower time frame. So this is once again an important level. For me to get into this short, I'd really want to see price kind of break this low, to be honest, on the 4 hour time frame. Or if you just stick on the daily, just wait for price to come back up into this level, potentially get into shorts. Or if you're not really, if you're very, very bearish on the DXY and more bullish on the yen, you could just wait for price to come into this supply zone here and just take a short from this supply zone, to be honest. So this level here, you could look for a short. 4 hour supply demand zone right there. You could look for price to, as I said, come up into this level. As I said, if you get confirmation, take that short back to this level again, or potentially to these lows here on the 618, so the 145798. That looks nice. I do like that. Or you could target these lows here at 142 something. They're 142364. But that would be more of a swing trade, obviously, because there's a lot of volume there, that's for sure. If you're talking from this supply zone, 550 pips is quite a bit. That's quite a bit of a move. So yeah, you could potentially get into that trade and swing it for sure. On the 4 hour, if that zone fails, you could just wait for price to, I think that's the only zone I would take. This zone and this zone here are the ones I'd really take, me personally. Yeah, these two zones are the ones I'd really look for, in all honesty. Yeah, and then the 1 hour probably similar. Yep, 1 hour is matching up to that as well. Could take buys up to this level, then short from there, both sides of the market. If you go on the 30-minute time frame, same again. 15-minute time frame, same again. So it's all lining up on buys up to this level, then shorts from that level. If the fundamentals still line up, if the sentiment still lines up, if the technicals line up, you have to make everything be synchronized and work in harmony when you're trading the 4 hour, the daily, the weekly. It's not just technical, guys. Technicals don't move the market on higher time frame. Fundamentals do. The data, the interest rate, the economy, the GDP, the PCE, NFP, unemployment rate. These things are market drivers on the higher time frame. So you just need to make sure you're in line with that on the higher time frame. Okay, so that's pretty much USDJPY done. Did you backtest your strategy? If you did, how long did you backtest? Let me just look at USDCHF and then I'll go and I'll do that after. I'll do a really quick one on USDCHF. I won't spend too much time on it, and then I'll answer your question about the backtesting and stuff. Guys, do me a favor, hit like. You don't have to subscribe. I'm not looking for subscribers, looking for genuine people who want to just, you know, benefit or find value in what I'm doing. Then yeah, I'd appreciate likes. Once again, drop a comment in the chat if you want me to go over any pairs, what time frame as well, and then I'll do that for you. And then after I've gone over the pairs, I'll do a Q&A session. Any questions you have, feel free to ask me, trading related ideally. Okay, so USDCHF really quickly over here on the daily time frame. Let's hop on the weekly actually. Oh wow, managed to go monthly on here. So as you can see, USDCHF, the absolute inverse version of the DXY tends to be USDCHF, because the CHF is a very neutral currency. So if you look at DXY and you put DXY, overlay it onto CHF, USDCHF, it kind of tends to be a mirror image, like the same price action. You know, we made this low. Let's just go on the, yeah, we made that low there, we made that lower high here, and I'm coming to make a lower low on the monthly time frame. That's interesting. On the weekly, I just can't find anything. It just has to be this level on the weekly. There's no recent lows to target or anything like that. But there is a bunch of highs over here. Do I see price coming up here? Nope, not anytime soon. That is a big move right there. How many pips is that? 16%. That's 1,278 pips. Yeah, 1,278. I'm not expecting that move anytime soon. What it says, sellers are in control, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Obviously, all the wicks again on the upper side showing sellers are in the markets. We're seeing a clear pattern, aren't we, guys? DXY is weak. We're seeing a clear pattern. So if you go on the daily time frame, we've got this low here, which is very similar to the DXY. If you go into the DXY, it's very, very similar. So I'm not going to split the screen. Actually, yeah, let's split the screen into two, and then I'll show you guys the DXY right here as a mirror image, and then that might be easier for you guys to kind of see that. So DXY, TVC on the daily. Let's get rid of the fib. So what are we seeing on here? We're seeing very similar price action, aren't we, guys? Here's the high, consolidated here, same here, drop down, pull back up, pull back down. You see how USDCHF is kind of the mirror image of the DXY. You see how they're so closely linked, how the DXY is versus the USDCHF. So if you wanted to trade the DXY, you could just basically trade the USDCHF and then just use the DXY's levels and copy the levels onto CHF. So zooming into this price action here, as I said, you know, we've got these lows down here. We've got lower high, lower low, higher high, higher low, higher high, but that's just intraday swing, if that makes sense, back to the upper side, and then we're going to continue down. So yeah, I mean, shorts USDCHF all day long. I would not look to long this market. There makes no sense of me looking to long this market at all. Let's put that back to where it was. Yeah, go back to there again. Okay, so yeah, for me, I really can't think of buying this. I really can't. Going on to the 4 hour, I'd wait for a supply zone anywhere here. The only one I can find here is this supply zone right here. 4 hour zone. If you go on the fib, up to here, to here. The fib, yeah, look at that. The supply zone literally is between the 5 and the 618 on a 4 hour supply zone. Looks beautiful. Then you've got another zone right here. I don't know if price is going to come that high because I'm really expecting USDCHF to be one of the better pairs this week from a swing perspective fundamentally. But you could say you could try and take a stab at it there, and if you failed the first 2 times and we're still bearish on the DXY, this would be your 3rd attempt. So you got a few opportunities there. 1 hour, we got an opportunity here on the 1 hour, so you could look for a short from here. 30 minute, 15 minute, same levels, same zones. So there you go, that's USDCHF for you guys. Okay, so did you backtest your strategy? If you did, how long did you backtest? So I trade based off of data meaning backtests, gathering my data and stuff like that. Now, in my opinion, as a bare minimum, you need 100 backtests over the span of an entire year with all the different monthly cycles, because you've got quarters, and you know, the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th quarter price can behave differently within that. So you need to get data from all of that. You need summer price action data, you need start of the year price action, you need winter price action, or the last part of the year. You need to get data from all the different market conditions over a year, ideally at least 100 backtests. For me personally, I did about 300 backtests over about 3 years. So I did 100 backtests every year for 1 year, and I tried to span it out over the whole year. So I was doing 1 month, missing a month, 1 month, missing a month, 1 month, missing a month, 1 month, missing a month. So I've caught pretty much the full year, but it's only 6 months of backtesting because I trade M1. If I trade M1, I wanted to kind of, how can I put it? I wanted to have an equal number of tests per year to get the win rate and stuff like that. If I was to do every single month, it worked out to about 170 trades per 1 year, so 170 backtests. And with win ratio and win rate, I wanted it over a span of 100. It just that's me personally. I've got OCD. So I did that 3 times for 3 separate years and I got 300 back tests. Now, why is that important? If you're back testing properly, as in you're actually back testing properly, you're not just blasting through the charts, going back, putting long position tool, there's a long opportunity. No, you're going through candle by candle by candle, as if you were live in the market, doing your analysis every single trade as if you were live in the market, executing that trade as if you were live in the market. That's how you want to backtest. The purpose of backtesting is gathering data from the market for trades that you will take with your strategy, to get the data for that strategy, for the trades that you actually take. Now, why is that important? If you're going to go flying through the charts, going back and sticking a long position tool and they're saying there's a long, you didn't even take that trade, you didn't even analyze that trade. So when you're live in the markets, you're not going to take that trade. So that data is no use to you because it's not what you're seeing in the market. With trading, a lot of it is forecasting. Where are you forecasting price is going to go? Where are you forecasting to take your entry on that trade? Where are you forecasting the level where these reversals are going to occur and stuff like that? So backtesting is important to get experience in the market without losing any money. And it gives you a chance to sit there, take your time to analyze everything, take a moment, look at it. Is it all okay? Is it not all okay? You can take as much time as you need per test. In my opinion, each backtest should take 5 to 15 minutes because you need to analyze it. Same when I'm live on the markets, it takes me about 5 to 15 minutes to analyze a single pair. So for every single trade, it should be exactly the same sort of time. So when I did 100 back tests, I think it took me about 6 days or 7 days, and I was doing 7-8 hours not 7-8 hours, probably about 4 or 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day. So that kind of works out about right to 100 back tests, and I did 300 over 3 years. So I spent basically about 2 weeks back testing. There was so many hours back testing. But the reason I did it is to learn the market, to see what price action does. And when you see that, you learn loads of things. Like now for me, on EU and GU, on GBPJPY, I know the average pip movement for London session, I know the average pip movement for New York session, I know what time price does a reversal, I know what time price does a pullback, I know where the highs and lows are, all because I've really come to understand the asset that I'm trading. I know EU and G like the back of my hand, and I don't have any spots on my hand. Thank God I don't, I checked. Point being, that I'm confident with the way I trade, and because of that level of confidence and the data, my win rate, my risk reward, my trade duration, how long is my average risk, how long is my average trade, how fast do I get tagged in a stop loss, how fast do I get tagged in a break even, what is my average SL, what is my average TP, what time do I enter the market on average? Do I enter at 8 o'clock on London Open? Do I enter at 9 o'clock? Do I enter at 10:30? What times are these trades occurring? So data is so important because it doesn't lie. Data is facts. Now when you're trading with statistics. Statistics is what? Data, an edge over the market. So if you don't know your data, you don't know your statistics, how can you say, I have a strategy? No, you have an entry model. That is not trading. That's like going to the casino and having a plan. What's your plan? Hit. Hit on what? Everything. Why? One day you're going to win. That's not a strategy. That is not an edge. That is gambling. So a lot of people go wrong in that. Very true. Since my strategy is retracement, I analyze if I would have placed that trade even if I see the market shifted bearish, and if it's bullish trade, I will still place it. Yes, but you need your data for that. You need to know what time does price trigger, what time should it trigger, when does it normally trigger. On the fib, how far does it normally extend? Does it go on the fib? I've got a setting here actually. Does it go to the 168? Does it go to the 121? Does it go to the 3186 on average? Because if you're using fib, you kind of want to get the average of where price moves and stuff like that, and the time frame you're trading. If you're intraday, You don't need fundamentals, just technicals is enough. If you're going to be backtesting a 4-hour or a daily strategy, you need to get Forex Factory out. You need to do your studying for your fundamentals and stuff like that in line with your technicals to backtest efficiently. So backtesting is really, really important. For me, it's imperative. The reason I trade M1 with success is the fact that I have my data. I know my win rate, I know my TP, I know my average risk reward, I know my average trade duration, I know my average SL, I know my average TP, I know how fast my average break even is, I know how fast I hit SL, I know what time price does a reversal, I know all of these things, and I could literally tell you all of my data. And that is what gives me sheer confidence in trading M1 like an absolute tank. To the point where I'm literally willing to do live streams and show you I'm taking a trade, show you I'm taking a loss, show you I'm taking a TP. And as I said, because of that, I've caught fantastic trades. I've caught 62 risk reward trades in the span of an hour, 45 risk reward trades in the span of an hour and 30 minutes, 2 hours trade. I've caught numerous 15 or 10 or 15 or 20 or trades in the span of an hour and a half because my data gives me confidence. And all of my TP SLs, they're all in line with data. Usually between 0.5 to 0.07 level during London Open for XAU. I don't trade anything, guys. If you trade XAUUSD, that's fine. How many back tests have you done? How many trades have you placed on XAUUSD? Because for me, gold used to be one of my favorite pairs, but then trading M1, I struggled to trade more than 4 assets at one time. But gold used to be one of my favorite pairs on the M1 and 30-second. I used to trade gold and M1 30-second. It was brilliant. Bro, I need water. I've been talking a lot. I need a lot of water. We got 5 people watching right now. Do us a favor, guys, hit the like button. If you got any questions, drop it in the chat. If you want to go over any pairs for you, that's fine. Let me know what pair, what time frame you want me to go over, and then and analyze that for you. But yeah, guys, Q&A time, man. Ask me questions. Have you got any questions about psychology, trading plan, prop firms, anything? Ask. I'm gonna go over my own pairs now and show you kind of what I'm looking at. So on EURUSD, I'm looking for longs. Supply zone. If we're bullish, I'm expecting supply zones to fail. This is my own personal strategy now. So I'm expecting supply zone to fail, price tagged in there, waiting for price to come down, sweep some internal liquidity or some internal structure points to push to the upper side is what I'm expecting on EU. So I'm on long on EU. This was a fantastic trade, man. I think this is when I caught that. Was it? Yeah, I think this is when I caught that 60-yard trade. Was it the 40-yard trade? Yeah, this was the 44 risk reward trade actually. Yeah. Yeah, that was the 46.7 risk reward trade that I caught on my live stream, live in front of everyone, execution, everything, showing all my floating balance through all my prop firm accounts. And then also my broker is a legit broker. It's IC Markets demo account. I use the demo on TradingView, so I can do my analysis on IC Markets, my execution on IC Markets, and I use a trade copier. So my trade copy is linked to this account. It copies to all of my other prop firm accounts and it executes on there. And obviously I've got my FX book linked to this, so I can show my track record and stuff like that. This account is new. I started it in August just because I wanted a fresh start for my track record. So I'm going to do a track record from 2025 August to 2026 August and see how it turns out. But in the month of August, I think I'm up like 7% just from August. 7% I'm up. And in September, I started with that 62.5R trade. I think it was Monday or something like that. Monday market is the start of the week. I caught that 62.5R trade. On GU. Where are you, GU? Where are you? Yeah, here it was. Yeah, so I caught this absolute monster move and I cashed out at a really good time. I cashed out at a really good time as well, to be fair. So this was a 62.5 R trade. So I've caught two monster trades, 100 R. I've caught basically 100 R. This is when I miss trades or something like that, if I miss a trade or if I'm not looking at the charts. Normally you see these in New York session because I don't really trade New York because I tend to just relax and chill. Because if I've caught 60 R in London, I don't need to trade New York. But yeah, once again, GU looking for longs again. We are in a bullish market overall. This fib this zone to this zone, we're in a discount. We can take buys all day long. This zone's gonna fail, that zone's gonna fail, that zone's gonna fail, that zone's gonna fail, that zone's gonna fail. So buys again on GU. So yeah, I'm personally looking for buys personally. I have data from January 2024 to May 2025. Traded it for a while, even know that June to September is the worst period for my strat, so I half my risk during this period while go with original risk in September. Interesting, that's fine. So Sak, how long have you been trading? Have you been trading for a long time or not? Drop that in the chat there as well. One sec, guys, just going through some messages I've had on social media, so just give it a second. It's just a friend telling me that he's not able to make it to the stream, that's all. Sorry. So yeah, that's pretty much it, to be fair. Oh, and 30-minute time frame. So GJ, I'm potentially looking for shorts on GJ, by the way, because I trade these are the four pairs that I trade. So I normally got the DXY over here, I've got the yen over here, GBP yen, I've got GBP CHF, and then I've got EU and GU. So these are the four pairs that I trade, and they're all, if you've realized, they're all inversely correlated. So these are the main four pairs I trade. This is like my four go-to pairs day in, day out. It's hard to manage four on the M1 because sometimes I miss a trade because I'm looking at one pair, but it doesn't matter. I catch one trade 20 or I don't really care if I miss trades. But they're my main four pairs. Before, I did used to trade US 30. I did used to trade Nasdaq. I did used to trade gold, silver, oil. With my strategy, I can trade pretty much all assets on the lower time frame. And if I wanted to swing trade, my strategy does work on swing trading also. So yes, it's flexible. It's flexible. So guys, do you guys have any questions or anything? But yeah, Sak, I asked you, I don't know if you missed my message or my question or not. I asked, how long have you been trading for? But let's just look at the news for this week anyway, see what the news is looking like. So we've got Monday's no news from the pairs that I trade. Let me pull out CAD. Buy CAD. Yeah, no news on CAD either. Because I only trade those 4 pairs, the yen, euro, pound, and USD. So for me, Monday, Tuesday is going to be quiet. Wednesday is going to be USDJPY. That's going to be interesting. Thursday, we've got the European refinancing rate and the monetary policy statement. That's going to be interesting for Euro. See what the stance is going to be. And then obviously we've got core CPI and CPI year on year. We've got unemployment claims. And then we've got the European Central Bank press conferences, President Lagarde, or whatever her name is. And then Friday, we've got GBP, GDP, forecasting 0. Previous was 0.04. That's not good. They're expecting a contraction. That's not good at all for the pound. And then in Friday, New York session, we got prelim consumer sentiment and inflation expectations. So yeah, that's quite interesting for sure. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. I'll hang around for another 5 minutes or something. Laggy laptop. It's okay, bro. No problem. Been trading since 2022, but then was intermittent. Left for 2 years, then got serious last year. Oh, okay, that's not bad, man. That's not bad. It's not bad at all. But yeah, if you got any questions, bro, shoot. I'm gonna do live streams every Sunday for a weekly outlook, and I'll go over the fundamentals and stuff like that as well, so you get a bit of free knowledge on fundamentals. If you don't know fundamentals, then I suppose that's a free bit of knowledge that you guys might benefit from. But fundamentals, it's not that difficult. You just need to kind of understand the economy. Once you understand the economy, fundamentals kind of fall in place. Once you also understand sentiment, market sentiment, and you know, all that stuff, it's relatively easy, to be fair. So yeah, I was hoping I would get all of my prop accounts funded and get all of them activated, but some of them, unfortunately, I can't pass KYC because my passport's expired, so I've had to apply for a new passport to get that sorted. So that's annoying. Very annoying. So guys, hi, welcome. I've already been through all the pairs, but if you guys want me to go over any pair, any time frame, drop it in the chat and I'll go over it for you now, and just do a quick weekly outlook for you. I've already gone over all of the pairs that I've gone through. EU, GU, USD, JPY, gold, USD CHF. What else was there? I went over the dollar index. I went over the yen index. What else was there? So there's a few things. Yeah, if you guys want me to go over anything, just drop it in the chat. Whether if it's indices, gold, silver, oil, US30, Nasdaq, wherever you want, guys, just drop it in the chat and I'll go over it for you. And if you don't have any questions on that, that's fine. You can just ask me anything else. If you want to talk about psychology, talk about trading plan, discipline, prop firms, whatever questions you have, guys, feel free to drop it in the chat and I'll be more than happy to answer. But yeah. The market open's going to be interesting, that's for sure. Thanks for your time. Looks like I need to upgrade my PC before trading. Catch you later. Yeah, no worries, Zach. Once you start making money, just get a PC for sure. If you need help with PCs and stuff, let me know, because I'm quite good with computers and stuff as well. Like if you need to find a deal or get a deal on a good computer or something, let me know. Hi Arpit, welcome. Long time no see, my friend. How are you doing? Hope you're well. Did you have a good weekend? David missed you, my friend. He missed you a lot. So yeah, I think tomorrow's London stream is going to be interesting. We're going to see what the market does off of the back of NFP. Monday, Tuesday is going to be interesting. I will be live trading London session 7:30 in the morning, maybe 7:15, depends if I wake up early enough. I will trade a London session. Whether if I catch a trade or not is a different story, but I'm already up for September anyway, so yeah. Yeah, I'm still doing well after that account. I'm grinding so much, so let's see. Yeah, I will join you. Yeah, of course, yeah. RP, you missed a couple fantastic trades, my friend. I caught 62.5 all live on my stream on Monday last week or something. David missed the trade. He looked at it and he didn't take the trade. Not that I'm giving signals or anything. If I take a trade, I'm taking it. I'm just doing it on YouTube. If you want to follow, that's your choice. If you lose money, that's your choice. If you hit TP, that's your choice. But yeah, he missed out on that 62 odd trade and he was just like, damn it. So yeah. It was on GU Shorts right here. It was Tuesday, yeah, NFP. NFP week Tuesday, 62.5. Yeah, it's right there. It's on my live stream, bro. I think I was floating like 30k. Yeah, about 25, 30k across my accounts, something like that. And then on Euro, I took that long on Friday the 22nd, which is 46 or so. Basically, span of about 2 weeks, I'm up about 110 or. Not bad. Not bad at all, 110 or. I was busy with my college and stuff, so yeah, it's okay, man. No problem. David was a bit busy as well, so it's fine, man. You know, the live stream isn't here for like me to send signals. It's just showing I'm a legitimate, authentic trader. I trade live. I take execution live. I do my analysis live. Not like all these people who just don't do live trading. or they do live trading, but they really don't. This is just me like showing I'm authentic, I'm legitimate, I am a real trader, I do take real trades, I'm not a scammer, basically. Yeah, that's the reason. That's the reason I'm looking up to you. Yeah, exactly. I know. And the reason I do it is because of that. All of these people who trade and sell courses and stuff like that, they don't do live execution, live trading, live analysis, or they use a demo account from a dodgy broker where you can manipulate the data and stuff. Mine, you can't. Look at my demo. I'll show you guys right now. My account is demo, but it's with IC markets. You cannot manipulate IC markets. You can't manipulate them. So there's no lying or BS or anything. It's all legitimate. And obviously, because I live trade, I show my live balance on my prop firm accounts and stuff. I've even shown that I've passed a couple of accounts. I've shown everything. And then I've also linked my FX book to this account, so you can see the track record, the win rate, the trade duration, everything is all authentic, all legitimate, broker login, everything. I've done every single thing you can do to prove I'm a legitimate trader, not like all these people who just like I don't even want to get into it. But for me, if you're not live trading with a legitimate broker, showing your floating profit, showing your floating trade, showing your execution, showing your analysis and everything, like start to finish, to me, it's you're only not doing that because you can't do that. If you're doing that, it's because you're legitimate. If you're not doing that, it's because you're not legitimate. That's it. That's my simple opinion. So yeah, Arpit, do you have any questions or anything? Because I was going to cut the stream soon, because I've been on here for almost 2 hours now and I've done all my analysis and stuff like that on all the pairs. Unless you want me to go over anything, or unless you got questions about anything. No, I'll catch you tomorrow in London session. No problem. That's fine, Arpit. I appreciate it. I'm gonna stick around for another 5 minutes till 6:50. So 5 more minutes, and then I'll cut the stream after then. But yeah, do us a favor, like the stream, all that stuff. Already did. Top guy, appreciate it. Thank you. Actually, this is a really good time to stream because now it's 6:45. So if I was to stream at 6 o'clock, it'd be 7:45. And if I was to stream at 7 o'clock, it'd be 8:45. So actually, to start this stream an hour or two later is actually perfect. That'd actually be perfect because I started this at 5 o'clock. Now it's 6:45, so I can get away with doing 7 o'clock start. It just depends if it's all right for the guys in Africa and stuff like that, because you're a few hours ahead. But for everyone else behind the UK, that would be perfect. 7 o'clock. And if you're a few hours ahead, 2-3 hours ahead, I suppose it's not too bad either. Yeah. That's okay. Guys, welcome. As I said, if you've got any questions, any pairs you want me to go over for the weekly outlook, drop the pair in the chat, the time frame in the chat, and I'll go through it. Whether if you want fundamental perspective or just raw technicals, just drop it in the chat and I'm happy to go through it and give you my take on that pair. Or if you have any questions about anything else, trading psychology, trading plan, back testing, prop firms, anything like that, just drop it in the chat and I'm happy to kind of go through that and see if there's any value I can provide. Right then guys, I'm gonna cut the stream here. Thanks to everyone who came. I appreciate it. I'm gonna do a couple more polls and stuff and see how people are kind of reacting to the whole weekly outlook live streams. If they do kind of how can I put it, if you guys do enjoy them, you do like them and you do want more of them, then I might start making it a regular occurrence, because normally I just do all of this on my own at 7-8 o'clock in the evening for about half an hour, just going through my pairs, looking at the data, looking at the news and stuff, and then I just kind of call it a night and go sleep. But if you guys are enjoying it, if you're watching this video back, if you're watching the stream back later on, drop a comment. If you've got any questions, I'll reach out, you know, I'll read the comments and reply. So yeah, thank you very much for your time. Thanks to everyone who came. Take it easy guys, have a good one, and just watch out for CPI this week. CPI is going to be a big one. I think it's on Thursday, I think I said, so yeah, just be mindful of that. But yeah, that's about it everyone. Thanks for your time. Take it easy, have a good one, stay safe in the markets, and remember, stay disciplined. Thank you, take it easy, bye guys. Lee, you're an idiot, bro. I finished the stream and I'm about to end it. Yeah, just rewind it, Lee, bro. I just went over a few pairs anyway, and then spoke about the back testing and stuff like that. That was pretty much it, Lee. Good. The first 30 minutes, 40 minutes is me going over pairs.